That white skyscraper of 6 or 7 stories is where my hostel is. This area, as near as I can tell, everything up the coast from La Serena to here is this barren high plateau with this relatively narrow but at least existent lower flat or playa or whatever you want to call it. I want to get closer to that and see what it is. I think it's a cemetery, but I can't tell. Of Palacio Baburizza. This was built by a nitrate magnet, and that was like fertilizer. I think it was guana from something, and but it was bought by a Yugoslavian wealthy person who named it after themselves. Known in part for this tower. Let's look a little more at the detail up on top. Art Nouveau is the style. Known also for the ironwork. The palace is currently under renovation. It's used as the Museum of Belle Arts, whatever that means. Another view of the central tower. There are 2 different police agencies here to protect the tourists at this spot. And I'm guessing that this balustrade, or however you pronounce it, railing, was put in here originally. Look at the size of this tree. Another view of this statue. You wonder if it was supposed to be of his daughter or something. There's some close-ups of some of the metalwork, or maybe not metalwork, maybe just what looks like metalwork. Focus a little bit on a few pieces of the metalwork. I'm guessing this is just plaster of Paris sculpture. Perhaps it's the coat of arms of the man who built it. Very fancy grill work on that railing. And the detail on the side of the roof, and then some pillars look like they're of wood, just guessing. Interesting columns.
Set up for the coffee and legs. It's preordained.
Thank you. You wonder if there was ever anything in that space in the middle. I'm guessing that this is a lamp. This is particularly interesting. Paseo Yugoslavia and Antiguo Paseo Americano. You wonder what the American connection was to this. Or is that perhaps where all the nitrate went? It's an interesting, whatever you call it, on the end point of that roof. So I'm going to have my favorite lunch, which is a lettuce and tomato and blah 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 salad. Actually, it's going to have avocado in it at this little restaurant right next to the Palacio. Feels so good to be back eating and drinking what I like to eat and drink instead of ship food. And it looks like it's very hard for me to get away from that ship because there it is right there. Just a little bit of it poking around the corner of that building. Here's the other acensor, and for some reason, maybe to give people a view, it moves relatively slowly. I think it almost stops. Not sure, almost in the middle, but maybe not. Going very slowly. Modern looking building there. Imagine the nitrate magnate who built that house, sitting up on the veranda, cool drink, watching nitrate being loaded onto his ships. Here's the front of that first house that I was photographing from the other side. It looked pretty elegant in its own right. And a nice little public square. An interesting view framed by these flowers and what look like really old buildings. And then on top what looks like a very nice building restaurant. In fact, I'm thinking that may be right where Ascensor Concepcion comes up. So I'm up to the right of that. I'll get a closer look at this church. I assume it's a church. significantly shaped old turnstiles. No doubt from the 1880s when they first put it all in. This is that gray building, not sure what it's for, but it's one of several buildings that are interesting. I think this is the, probably the Hall of Justice or something. This is the monument to Arturo Prat, who was the great naval hero of Chile, and perhaps their greatest hero, period. In fact, his body lies entombed underneath this monument. All due respect to the men who are the heroes represented here, I would rather live out my life than gain immortality on a statue. But that just shows I'm a coward. There's some classic buildings that are probably what was the waterfront at one time. Some look like they were restored once upon a time, but sorely in need of it again. $1876 wheelwright. Navigación a vapor. And the telegraph and the railroad he had something to do with. I'll just pan from the south across the waterfront. First thing is an acensor that's no longer operating, apparently. Looks like the military or the police down there having some formation. A busy port it is. Look at that ship over there. I wonder what ship that is. Four-master. Huh. Del Mar, across the bay. A very busy port this is. The Explorer down there to the right. That's an interesting looking something or other out there. I don't know whether it's a boat or a permanent installation. Maybe that big steel plate that says Sotomayor, if that's what it says, is designed to offset the cargo that will be lifted up by the cranes. There's the Palacio from a far different vantage point, far distance vantage point. It's interesting how pretty this building could be if the owner or owners would restore it. Imagine what this house was like when it was built. Even now, what a spectacular view. It's a walkway that winds down along the side of the hill. Sorry for going fast. It's kind of a back street instead of taking the acensor down. This is interesting, a view down through the guts of a abandoned, gutted building. Pretty little park, pretty little fountain, small park, breezy and comfortable.
Ceremonia de colocación de ofrenda floral en honor a la Navy.
This is the Armada de Chile, which I assume is their naval headquarters. Just a normal church not too far away from the hostel. Interesting work on the roof of this one. Cut out flowers, I guess.